So with graphite, we tend to be thinking like kind of traditional pencils, but there are a few different things that you might want to take a look at. We do have our kind of traditional pencils, graphite in wood. We also have solid graphite pencils. So this is mainly just a stick of graphite coated with some kind of material so that you can hold it, but it can be sharpened just like a pencil. These can be really fun because of the just amount of surface you have. You can create some really nice lines and kind of soft textures that are a little more difficult to get with just a regular pencil. Create-A-Color makes these. I'm not sure if there's other brands, but this is usually the one I use. And then we also have just other shape, just sticks of graphite. So got just some rectangular sticks here of different sizes. Generals makes these, so I can really come in with some interesting lines there. So this can be a nice way to, again, sometimes with similar to pastel, you want to maybe create a bit of a ground for your midtones. Something like this can be really handy for that. And then this is even like a giant stick of graphite, which, if you want to just kind of have fun working loosely, you can, just create these big, fun, bold lines with this. This can be a great one to just kind of go out, with your stick of charcoal in your sketchbook, and, the material really kind of can shape how you end up drawing and what you draw, and if you're working with a pencil with a nice, finely sharpened tip, you're going to tend to kind of go more into the route of, wanting to get into details and really fine work. But if you give yourself kind of something more rough and bold to work with, then, you start to just work a little differently. So it's just good training as a way to kind of open up your range with material. We'll talk a little bit just about the hardness with pencils. So you're going to find a gradation of hardness going from H to B. H tends to be harder, so it's a little bit lighter initially. It goes all the way to down, I think, to like 6 or 8H. So, a very light mark. Really handy for working. If you either have a really delicate piece of paper that you're working on, or if you just need to really do a, quick kind of light sketching, kind of an underpainting kind of idea. And then up to then it goes from there to H, HB, and then the Bs tend to become softer, darker, so you can get more of your darker tones out of those. One of the things with pencil is it can really kind of, it really lends itself to a slow build. So I use pencil when I really want to work slowly and deliberately, when I really just kind of want to take my time to explore something in detail. Again, erasers are an important point of working with graphite. I do use the same mechanical erasers as with pastel. I will use the kneaded erasers, but I also tend to use some harder erasers with graphite. There's different plastic erasers. There's some that have shapes, little triangle shapes. So a lot of different ones out there, but the plastic ones tend to be a little better for graphite because unlike charcoal, it can tend to settle into the surface a little bit more, so you need something a little stronger if you're really going to lift it. And you'll find, similar to charcoal, you can lift material away, and you can also sort of blend it and almost smear it in to get these kind of, so I'm just pressing a little bit lighter. I'm not really trying to lift a lot off. I'm actually just trying to burnish it in almost to kind of create that darker area. But I could still go in over the top and lift if I wanted to. Let me grab a brush really quick. It is really handy to have a brush around with graphite, something with even probably more bristle than this, but you can kind of whisk away all these eraser flakes that start to build up. Another thing you want to consider is if you're working on a larger piece, you can put something down on the paper to rest your hand on so that you're not kind of smearing it as you work. There's a material called glassine. It's a little bit like a tracing paper, but it's very smooth, so it doesn't really pick up material. I'll use it both to lay over finished drawings to help protect them, and also, as I'm working, to avoid kind of getting handprints on the drawing. So an exercise just quickly that I'd recommend doing with pencil is to really actually let yourself explore detail. So pick a small object, maybe a berry, or maybe you want to work with part of a portrait like the nose or eye or lip. Just one sort of little thing that you can really focus in on, and then sharpen your pencils and see how deep you can go with the detail. Let yourself work slowly. I always think a good way to start, you can lay down a little bit of a ground for yourself, and just start with a nice initial kind of outline to orient yourself. And you might want to do this a few times. You might want to just do a few really light, rough sketches to kind of get a feel for the shapes you're working with. And then try just slowly building up the layers. A lot of time with pencil, we're going to work with these directional lines. Again, the cross-hatching. Kind of blend it down to just establish that initial mid-tone. Yeah, I think the pencils kind of tend themselves to slowing down a little bit, so letting yourself try to just do a slow build with the graphite.